Welcome to Presente, a space and community that vibes on being in the moment, something we are relearning how to do in a fast moving world.
We are excited to be part of a growing movement that talks about topics that we feel haven't been talked about in our Latin culture and womanhood.
Be present with us. Take a pause and break down societal norms.
Redefine the meaning of existing. Welcome to Presente, the podcast.
¿Cómo se dice Latin dialects?
Hola y bienvenidos. Thank you for tuning in to Presente, the podcast. If you've been following us this season 5, we are celebrating and paying homage to Hispanic Heritage Month. For most, many have heard the term Spanglish, and that's a skillful tool of mine and of many Latinos. You can immerse in conversation from Spanish to English easily. Pretty cool, I must say. But there are times that even Latinos, one to another, get confused and lost in translation. For this episode, we'll break down our Latin dialects. Yes, truly, we are Latinos, and we here on Presente recognize that our native Latin tongue varies country to country, tribe to tribe, person to person.
There are 33 countries that are Latino according to Google. This episode, we bring you ¿Cómo se dice? How do you say it? We're still celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here on Presente, and we wanted to share the importance that while our language is similar in how we understand one another, certain phrases or words are unique to each country respectfully. In fact, more than just Spanish is spoken in the Latin world, as indigenous peoples still speak the original languages. For example, the Mayan language is still strong, Quechua for Peru from the Incan empires, Macori from the northern coast of DR, and DR also has lineages to the Taíno and Ciguayo people. While some of us may know just Spanish, our origin stories existed before that and generations past. Languages, while often spoken differently around the world, connect us all in many ways. By the way, how do you say to be present in your language? The act of noticing the present moment. Also, happy birthday to all the fellow air signs of Libra. They are known for their charming, graceful, fair-minded, and appreciative of the aesthetics. Also, wishing my wonderful father an amazing birthday. Hope you and the family are having a blast celebrating in Peru. This year, they finally got to visit the beautiful Machu Picchu region, the original home of what once belonged to the Inca people. ¿Cuál es tu dialecto o tu acento? Soy mitad catracha del lado hondureño y mitad inca del lado peruano. That's actually the name of our group chat on Facebook for the family, Los Incas. Though I'm aware Honduras had its own indigenous culture too, like the Lenca people, and even a bit of the Mayan when the Mayan culture migrated to Honduras later in history. For example, the Copan ruins of the Mayans still exist in Honduras today for all to see. I've mentioned before that my mother is from Honduras and father is Peruvian. Sometimes people tell me you picked up the Honduran accent when speaking Spanish, and well, perhaps that's true because I mostly spoke Spanish with my mom and growing up and English with my dad. If I ever got stuck on how to say a word or a phrase, my parents would be right there to support me on my bilingual journey. I always remember when visiting my parents' home country and people asking my parents if their kids speak and understand Spanish. My dad would always proudly say, "He said, take it away." Growing up with two ethnic Latin backgrounds, I adapted to both dialects growing up. Also, traveling to both Honduras and Peru helped me further by asking my cousins, how do you say this while speaking Spanglish? But there I was, speaking Spanish until I became fluent. Traveling to my parents' countries, I also learned, hey, people speak a certain way here, or say certain things I say back in America differently.
¿Cómo tú dices? For this segment, we are going to throw out some words and see how we use them based on our Spanish dialects. This is meant to be a fun part of the show, and hey, feel free to join us as we go back and forth. Keep in mind, this is just to see the differences of how we each uniquely speak the Spanish language and how it varies from country to country.
Here are some notable dialects from Honduras and Peru. Please leave comments if I missed any. So growing up with my mother, who is from Honduras, one thing I always heard between my mother and my aunt is be. And be is like, huh? what you mean? Or something else that we say in my family, and even my dad picked up from my mom, is "Pukchika." Like, it's like damn it or darn it, like, oh man. And then one Peruvian dialect that my dad always said at the house was "A su diablo," which is like wowza, like cool, like chévere.
You said the "a su diablo," very Italian, like, I must say.
I don't know, my dad says it like that, so I just picked it up from my father. "A su diablo."
Representing La República Dominicana is me, and here are some notable dialects from Dominican Republic. For instance, one we've heard of many is vaina, mira esa vaina, which it means to emphasize, to place emphasis on everything and pointing out like that thing over there. Dime is another one. Tell me, talk to me, what's up? Tato, meaning done deal, okay, you got it, firm, yes. There's mira, which is always like used for everything, to something to point out or to look at and pay attention. There's diablo, which is like what the F. There's also some curses over here, guys, but there's coño and carajo, which is again like what the F, or it's just said if you hurt yourself, and that's just like the reaction after that might just slip out your mouth. Coño, carajo. There's also dale, which is get it, do it by any means, go off. And one that I recall growing up used a lot was fulano or fulana. And that's when you are identifying some person or that person in an unknown person. You reference them as fulano or fulana.
Huh, I never heard that one before. Okay, that's cool.
I like that one.
All right, guys. So right now at this part of the episode, we're going to just be throwing out some words and how we say them in our Latin dialect. This is meant to be fun again. Please feel free to join us in saying these words. How do you say them back at home? I want to say this trend was kind of picked up from watching videos on TikTok and seeing how people from other Latin countries or even European countries come together and discuss how they say the words. So let's start off with baby bottle. Do you want to go first or should I go?
Go right ahead. Go for it.
All right. So the way that I grew up saying baby bottle at home from my mother's side of the family is Pepe.
Mine was completely different, and it's biberon, meaning the baby's bottle.
I have heard biberon too, but it's just at home. I picked up Pepe and then I was like, oh, biberon's another way. Okay. Refrigerator, I say nevera.
Same here.
Okay.
Nevera.
There's also, I know other people say refrigeradora, refri, etc. If we missed any, please feel free to comment. Straw, like to drink something, I say sorbete.
And I hope I'm saying this right, but we say sorbeto.
Oh, sorbeto. Okay.
So very similar.
Bed quilts. So I say sabana. How do you
Yes.
say sabana? Okay.
I
Because
say sábana, but then like the bed sheet will be like frisa.
Yeah, that's okay. So my boyfriend, by the way, guys, he's also Dominican. And one day, randomly, we were at my house, right, at my parents' home, and he was like, "Hand me the frisa," and I'm like, What? You mean the sabana? You mean the sabana, right?" He's like, "That's called the frisa." I'm like, I have never heard.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you guys say frisa. I say
Yeah.
sabana. All right.
Sounds like you're freezing. You need the
Yeah.
bed sheet.
Oh,
Frisa.
see? Gotcha. All
But I
right.
haven't used frisa in like a very long time. My preferred word is sábana.
Okay. So yes, okay. Sabana, frisa. All right. I get it now. Frisa. You're cold. Gotcha. Let me see. Pajamas.
I just added that there. So how do you say? Because
Oh,
we say bata.
oh, I just say pijama.
Pijama. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I grew up.
that's like, just converting the word, I guess, from English to Spanish. But we do
Yeah.
say bata, and whether
Okay.
it's a nightgown or like it's really for like a nightgown, but again, it applies to just like your night suit set,
Okay.
whatever, your pajamas. But yeah,
Your
we say
night
bata.
attire.
Yeah, I love my
Uh,
batas.
okay. The next word is bus. So I've always just grown up saying bus.
Okay, well, we say autobus, but
Mhm.
there's also, for instance, guagua. And I know that that word guagua means like something completely else, something completely different. I think like in Ecuador or something. But yes, it can be for bus, it can be autobus or guagua.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard guagua. My boyfriend's family, they say la guagua. I just say el bus. Bus. El bus. How do you say fan? The
Abanico.
fan abanico. Oh, I say ventilador. That's what I say. Yeah, I'm like ventilador. That's what I
Sounds like
say.
ventilator.
Yeah, I don't know. I grew up I guess again from my mother's side, growing up with my aunties, prende el ventilador. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think so there's fan and there's abanico and then there's like air conditioner and that's aire acondicionado.
Yes, that was actually one of the words. I also say aire acondicionado or Spanglish just says I say
Yeah.
AC, turn on the AC. How about passion fruit? How do you guys say it? Like the fruit,
So
passion fruit?
Dominicans refer to passion fruit as chinola, and I know Puerto Ricans refer to passion fruit as parcha. And then
Oh,
here's the third
okay.
one for you. My fiance, he's Brazilian, and they refer to passion fruit as maracuja.
That's how I say it too. Maracuya, because in Peru they say maracuya as well. I guess maybe it's a part of South America that maybe they say it
I
like
think
that.
so.
Okay. So the next word is sweet potato,
Batata.
camote.
Eh, Tamote. You sure that's not a tomato? I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah, we say batata. That's all I could think of. But, again, on the Brazilian side, sweet potato, I mean, batata is known as potato, like French
Hmm.
fries.
Hmm.
But I refer to batata as a sweet potato. So, hey,
Yeah,
we
I've
learn
heard
something about it.
batata. I know my boyfriend's mom says it like that. She says batata. I say camote. And then she was like, "Como?" I'm like, "Camote." How do you say the cooking pots or your frying pan? Like we say sartén or we say ollas. That's how I grew up saying it on my mom's side of the family. Like to take out saca las ollas to cook.
Yeah, I think the same goes here. Las ollas. Yeah, yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Okay. How does Juan say it? Juan has another way of saying it. The way his mom says it is caldero. That's how
Oh
his
my
mom
God, yes. I forgot about that word.
the
Yes, el
caldero.
caldero, but that's like a pot,
Like the pot
to
you cook
make
what, like stew?
soups
Oh,
or
okay.
rice, el caldero, yes. La paila is more like a pan. But yeah, how could I forget that word? Thanks, Mr. Juan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Juan. It's appreciated. So roasted chicken. I know Peruvian people say pollo a la brasa.
Yes, and we say pollo horneado.
Pool. How do you say pool? Because I've always said piscina, but apparently in other areas in the Latin America, they say it very differently.
How do they say it?
I got to look it up because
I
I've
say
heard it.
piscina. That's
Yeah,
it.
piscina, pool in like where Argentina. Let me see. Because some girl on TikTok said it. Oh, okay, so if you studied Spanish in Spain, you probably learned la piscina. If you traveled to Mexico, you might know it as la alberca. In Argentina, though, they use la pileta. Interesting.
That's something
Google.
new. I had no idea.
Yeah, I heard it on TikTok. I was like, what? I was like, piscina always. Pineapple, piña.
Piña.
In Argentina, I've heard them say anana, and it's also interesting because I think it's similar in Italian too. Very interesting.
Yes, I didn't know that. Then we have soda. Soda.
Yay,
How do you say
soda.
that? We say refresco.
So yes, in Honduras, whenever I've had to get, for anybody that recognizes the banana soda, I've also said refresco. If you say soda in Honduras or in certain places, they take it as like a seltzer soda or a club soda, I believe. So yeah, it's very different. Like when you travel and you have to say soda, quiero una soda o quiero un refresco, which one is it? I remember when I was little, I think I was like 7 or 8, and I asked for a soda. The lady looked at me, she's like, oh, you mean seltzer? I was like, no, the banana the banana soda. When she's like, oh, refresco, I was like, yes,
Mhm.
that. So kids or a group of kids, I know that from the Honduran side is my mom says cipotes. That's like a group of teenage kids. That's what I've grown up listening to my whole life. Cipotes, like esos cipotes están arriba, etc. Mostly referring to when you're like a teenager to a tween. If you're like with cousins, ¿dónde están esos cipotes? Where are those kids?
Yeah, I would say we refer to like a group of kids as muchachos, or to identify like a group of boys, or muchachas if to identify a group of girls.
Nice. Yes, I've heard of that from in general, and then also in Spanish classes. But yeah, I don't know if I had any more words. These were all the words I could think of when I was looking at certain inspirational videos from TikTok. Definitely let us know in the comment section if you're listening to the podcast. If we missed anything, how do you say the words? Maybe we could put that as a comment section on the Presente Instagram page.
Passion is the soul core of Latinos. We are the fire. Our voices are unique, and we have a light that moves through the universe. We are guided from our past ancestors, grounding ourselves in the root of the earth. Our ancestors fought so we, the present souls, remain, to continue breaking cycles past and be spiritually awakened in our power.
Durante el mes de la herencia hispana, con orgullo y mucho amor, felicidades a nuestros latinos.